Hello, hello, hello. My name is Jackblade and welcome back to Satisfactory. Today's a tips and tricks video and we are in a creative world where I'm going to show you how not to end up building these boxes when you're building your factories. And there's going to be a few tricks to this because what you basically have to do is limit yourself in such a way that you have no choice but to break your pattern. Because it's a pattern, and if you want to build differently, you gotta like force yourself to do that. So I'm gonna help you with that, and this really helped me in the when I learned how to build, specifically in Minecraft of all places. But I think it's very applicable here too. As I've said before, I think that a lot of what we are learning in Satisfactory as a building community, they are like 6 years ahead of us in Minecraft. So let's grab some lessons from there. And this one specifically comes from everyone's favorite Grian. Lesson number 1. Most of the time when we try to break out of the box pattern, we start out with planning how to build a box, and then we try to do this and add on extras outside that breaks up the box. The problem with that is that we very rarely succeed, and we very often end up with your basic, how should I put it? You very much end up with your basic problem of space that is not usable. Like, you can't place a smelter in here, that's not gonna work. You don't have the space to move in and out and stuff like that. Like, you can, but it is definitely not something you should try on your first try, right? So you still end up with a lot of unused space that you haven't planned how to use. You just added the space because you're supposed to, right? So what you do first is you plan how to build or what you need to build. For example, you know that you're going to need, in your factory, you're going to need constructors. You know that you're going to need assemblers. You know that you're going to need refineries, right? Plan out spaces with these in mind. If you know you're going to need 400 of these, as was the case for me when I was building the mega refinery, then when planning out 400 of these, like actually going like, okay, how big are 4 of these, like next to each other? And okay, so take this. How big is the size here? We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have to take into account that it needs space for the logistics, right? They take up 30, which means that they will take up 100 times this. That's 3,000 foundations they will take up. That you realistically need to have planned for this. So, with that in mind, a space that is less than 30 in this configuration is not usable by your refineries. And these are things that you need to like test and like plan for, instead of planning like what is the number of and like iron I need to put into this, and how much oil do I need to put in, how much like heavy oil residue is getting out, what do I do with the byproducts. That's not what you need to plan first and foremost. Like, you need to have those numbers. You need to know how many of these you need. But you need to know how much space do I need before you start planning the actual layout of the factory, right? So the way that you get away from this is like, okay, I need 3,000. This entire space, in comparison, is 23 by... Let's see how big I've made this, I don't even know. It's 23 by 21. So if I take that, 23 by 21 is 483. So I would need to take 483. Let's see. 483. I would need 6.21 times larger space. But I don't need to make that space square. That's the thing. So if we work at scale, and we do this to show a marker. So this, let's see, this is the first one, right? Then I can take the second one. This is, well, I need 6.21, right? For 400 refiners. So what I'm going to do is essentially plan like this. And then I can put the next one over here. Let's just fix that one back. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I need 2, technically 3 more. I'm gonna put 3 more so I have extra space to work with in case of. And then let's put you over here so you overlap a little bit. Because remember, we only need 0.21. So, and then I put the last one, let's say over here. There. Now I have planned out, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need one more. I need one more. Let's put you over here. Okay, now these are all going to be the space for the refinery. Then you do the same thing for height. Right? Okay, how tall does this need to be? Let's grab this. This is a 4-meter foundation. And let's see, do I want this to poke out through the roof so I get smokestacks or not? Let's say that I want the smokestacks. Then I go 7 foundations high. Grab like this. Okay, this is my 7 foundations high, which means that this place needs to be 3,000, right? It needs to be 3,000 foundations in area, and that area needs to be 7 foundations high as a minimum. If you then also want a logistics floor, realistically, if you're using a logistics floor, that takes up this space for a very basic 8-meter logistics floor. Which means that on top of those 7, you have 2 more, that's 9, plus a 1 meter. So the space, the floor that you're building suddenly needs to be 1 meter, or, sorry, 9 times 4 plus 1 meter high. So if I was building this, it would need to be 7, 8, 9, boom. Right? And then on top of this, I'm basically going to put this here as a limiter. But in reality, it is to extend the roof one more, because I need 3,000 foundations that equates to this. If I have a logistics floor and I want this to put in there. But I don't need to make it a big square. You figure out a section, you figure out one segment, and then you do this. That solves the horizontal problem. Now, we also need to solve the vertical problem. Because a lot of factories turns out like this, and then if they fix this problem so that the factories start looking like this, the factories also start looking like they have one layer. There is no verticality to it whatsoever. There are no multiple floors, nothing. How do we fix it? Well, very, very simple. I'm going to show this. We're going to jump on over because it's going to be in a different area. But before we go there, what we want to do is say hi to our lizard doggos, where we have my lovely patron over here, first patron ever, and then we have, where are you? Damn it, Carl, who is our first YouTube member. And if you want to support, you can either become a YouTube member or you can jump over to Patreon. There are links in the description. and help support that way. And if you feel like, nope, monetarily, like I don't like it, I would love if you wanted to help through subscribing, liking, and commenting on the video. I'm aiming for 1,000 subs now, and it's so close. Your help is so much appreciated. I wouldn't be able to push the way I am if it wasn't for you guys. And I so love all the support I've gotten from you so far. And on top of everything, we will also get something else, or you guys will also get something else if you support, which is your very own sign in the Hall of Legends commemorating your support. And the goal, of course, is not just for Damn It Carl and Eric M1777 to have their own signs, or I want to have signs all the way around this place to really frame this slug sanctuary that we've built here. And of course, I very much would like to extend an invitation to go and watch my videos on the Let's Play side of things, where we are building cities. The entire playthrough is going to be cities. 4 or 5 of them, in fact. This is just the first one. This is called Clearhaven. And I would very much like that, but for now, let's get back to the video. Alright, so we're looking at verticality now. So if we go in here, and I'm gonna just pick a few foundations, right? And what we're going to do is work with verticality. I'm gonna be on the world grid by pressing Control. So I'm gonna create a core pillar. This is the center of our factory, right? And I'm intentionally putting it in a dumb place, okay? Where you have a cliff here, you can't fit a factory in here. It's on purpose, right? So, with that, using this pillar as the base support, I can now go, like here, and create, okay, here's layer number 1. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the highest point, which is over here for this side, right? So over here, you have the highest point. And I want to be just above that, so I can build a flat factory that doesn't clip with a bunch of terrain, right? Because that sucks when you're trying to place down machines and place down pipes and stuff like that. But I have it on the world grid and I have double checked, so it is centered on this, right? And what I want to do now is I want to have a different center. This center is going, let's see, we're going down here. Okay, so I made a mistake before. But essentially, you understand the principle of it. I misclicked before. So it's a bit too high here. But you do understand the principle of it. I've basically filled that one out. And now I'm going to go fill out the last bit over here. And I'll be back when we have a basic foundation for the factory shape. Alright, so as you can see, I've wireframed some stuff out. It turned night, so I just started filling stuff in while I was waiting for it to turn day. But essentially what you have here is wireframing. Alright? So now we know that we needed the logistics floor and everything, right? But there's something else that we needed to plan for this, which is the core logistics stuff for the entire factory, right? Which I have marked here with this darker concrete foundation. So what you see here, this is going to be resource intake and like stuff like that. This is going to be where you move all the resources around the factory and move them between. So you have like you create an intersectional logistics system, having like vertical logistics in mind and moving from side to side. You have that in mind and all that kind of stuff. You give a little bit of space here, so you can put some decorations in between. But now we're looking at what is the next step. We're looking at shape. So right now it's just like, well, Jack, now we just have multiple shoeboxes. How do we change this? Well, we do this by changing the shape. And what you do, as a simple thing, like as a beginner tip, you don't need to do anything else. Just do this with every one of the factories that you design from now on. Take this, get rid of this part on each corner. You get the road barrier, and then take and place two, like so, with it centered precisely on the corner. So you can see that it's precisely on the corner, and you can see that it's 45 degrees. It's aiming straight into the other one. Boom. You do this, and you do this for every single corner on your factory. You grab a new foundation, and then you aim so it snaps to the middle of the second road barrier. You go like this, click, zoom out once, like in this case, depending on how long it is. You zoom out, and then you take from the, don't keep going, don't go all the way across here because it's not gonna align. Go from the other side and place that final foundation. Now you have a perfectly 45-degree angled corner, right? You immediately take out the squaredness of any factory by doing this thing. By doing this, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like when it's done. So, okay, I'm gonna be right back when I've done it, and you will see exactly what I mean. And there we go. As you can see, now we have completely taken out the squaredness of our foundations. You can make this bigger, by the way. Like, I've used 2 foundations now. You just do the same thing. Just take out more foundations. Make sure that it's an even number. And you can definitely, like, make these corners bigger so that they fit the size of it. Or however you want to, like, deal with that. Or you can have one that is that size and one that is bigger. Completely fine. What I want to show as well, and I have a lot of videos and I have a lot of stuff that talks about how to do the said fighting fix. But if you want to have the lazy man's version of said fighting fix, this is said fighting. You can see where they're fighting of which one should be visible. What I tend to do is I just use asphalt in and around like this, because the asphalt said fighting is not visible on the foundations. Ta-da! That's a very simple fix for that, but to use asphalt instead of concrete. I accidentally painted that, I don't know how? Okay. I've accidentally painted a bunch of stuff. But yeah, essentially, I now have a non-square, multi-level factory. And here's the thing. I don't expand more than this horizontally. If I need more space, if I realize that, oh no, I'm not gonna fit how many 100 refineries I want in these spaces, and I need 50 assemblers and I need 30 constructors too. Oh crap, how do I do this? Verticality. You literally go up. Like, you add another floor. And if it's like, okay, I don't need a full floor. Perfect. Because that adds like tiers to your factory instead of having uniform floors. That way, you get a little bit of depth. And with that, we're gonna move into the final part. And then I swear, class is dismissed. After that, class is dismissed, final part. What we're talking about now is depth. So this wall is boring as all hell. How do you fix it? You add depth. Number 1 thing you can do is don't put the wall on the outside like this. Okay? Instead, what we do is I take the wall and I add it here. And I can have fun with it. I can go with the rest of the wall. I can go like here. And keep doing that. Right? That way I'm adding some depth to it. That's level 1. Level 2 is switching out some of the walls here. And using different walls. So what you can do is instead go, hey, I'm gonna put this here instead, okay? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Add a little bit of pizzazz to your builds. Just by doing this. Let's see if I can just get that wall. There we go. You can add a lot of extra. And don't be afraid to mix materials. So when I'm building this, for example, what I can do to really like add that little bit of extra is I can once again change out what materials I'm using. So let's go for the steel wall. Press Control, and you're gonna switch them out. And then I'm gonna go for the concrete on the side and the center. So concrete, concrete, boom. And then we're gonna get concrete. And then we're gonna have concrete here in the middle. Boom. Having this kind of stuff, you might even want to have this as a window. I can grab and say, hey, I want to have this here. It's an observation window. Or you can have conveyor holes, and this is now your output for the factory. Stuff like that. So you can very much break away from your flat walls, your corners being completely squares, or your foundation pieces being completely square. All of this is stuff you can get away from with these few simple tips and tricks to use. Plan your factory not just with the numbers, also with the size. You need to know how much space this is gonna take, or you're not gonna break away from your shoeboxes. Let yourself pre-plan and say like, hey, I don't care. I'm not going to, like, just because I needed that one extra space to put that in here. No. New floor. Don't go like, yeah, but I can just do this. No, don't do that. If this is your shape, that's your shape now. Build up instead. And the same thing goes for the roof as goes for the walls. I hope that you guys have taken something with you from this and can now build awesome looking factories. If you have questions, put them down in the comment section. If you want to support, like, subscribe, head on over to Patreon or become a member here on YouTube. And I am super appreciative of any of that. Like, just viewing the video, just watching the video helps. So all I want you to do is tell me in the comments what you liked most about this. And if you have any questions, tell me if I waffled on too much about something specific and you wanted more details about something else. Tell me that too, and we will see each other in the next video. Have a good one, everyone. Bye!